and I know we think that you pretty much covered Spider-Man. So, but with MJ was perfectly adapted from the series to the comic book, and I do mean it seemed like it was perfectly adapted with the storyline that was originally in the original. It was the first 57, right, Don?
Her first appearance.
Look, but I'm talking about the mystery leading up. Oh, this good Mary Jane. The whole mystery. I,
Oh yeah. You're talking about like oh yeah, who is
who
Peter
is
date my aunt, my neighbor's aunt, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was around 57 that, and I'm just going off the top of my head because Don's more of the precise number there. But where did you see her role in the show, and what were your short-term plans for her character in the future?
Well, we saw again. To me, we talked about the Green Goblin mystery. To me, the introduction of Mary Jane was one of the great classic introductions of all time. So, I didn't want to shortchange that. We wanted to play it out, which is why Mary Jane doesn't appear for the first 5 and 7/8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to do her introduction justice, and we wanted that classic line in there. I mean, I'm mind-boggled by this even now, but we actually got one network note saying to us that they thought that sounded too conceited on her part. And
Not exactly
and
false.
and we had to sort of point out that this is one of the classic lines of all time, and it's not an option to change it, and the good news is that we got that, the guy got that, and we didn't have to change it. But yeah, there was that moment where you got to be kidding me, and so in terms of her role on the series, I mean, the way we saw it is that in a sort of high school way, again, we're taking the MJ that we know from college and extrapolating back to high school. This is a girl who lives with her folks on Staten Island, but is commuting to Manhattan to go to school here. Once she starts at Midtown, and that maybe she had kind of a rep at her old school, and and so she's trying to get a fresh start here at the new school, and so she's not going to get serious about anybody. She wants to have a good time, but she's not going to let herself get serious about anybody. And we tried to illustrate that even the one time she does get serious about someone, which is that she starts out dating Mark in season 2 because she thinks he's hot, basically, and then gets sort of caught off guard with how much she comes to care about him. But like she won't let herself feel. I think the thing with Peter is that right off the bat she sees him as someone with potential, so she won't let herself get close to Pete in anything but a platonic way, because he's risky, and even Flash, she sees something in Flash that maybe the audience didn't see until maybe a little later into season 2, maybe not until Shashan came into the picture. So she's sort of standoffish from Flash as well. Happy to go out on a date with him, happy to dance with Rand Robertson, happy to hang out with whoever, but she's not going to get serious with anyone. And so I think the thing with Mark is that she didn't think she was going to get serious with this guy, and then she did. So the idea is that you've got this girl who wants to be the party girl, wants to be the girl who doesn't get serious about anybody. What that really means is that, she doesn't let anybody close. The first time she does, she actually falls for him. And so I think, what we're trying to build for her in the same way that we're building for Gwen is sort of, all right, again, we know where MJ and Peter end up. We know this, So I want them to start there. I mean, one of the things about the movie, which I kind of get, the Spider-Man movie, is let's simplify things. Let's just have this one girl that he has been in love with from day one, and so Mary Jane, first off, from my point of view in those movies, with the exception of the hair color and the fact that she calls him Tiger once a movie, is pretty much Gwen Stacy.
That's
in
very true.
Personality, she's pretty much Gwen Stacy. And the funny thing for me in the third movie is that when they finally do introduce Gwen Stacy,
she's like Mary Jane.
She's like Mary Jane with blonde hair, and so I for me, that just threw me a lot. It really did. With the additional bizarreness of it being is that Kirsten Dunst in real life is a blonde, and Bryce Dallas Howard in real life is a redhead. So it was just sort of like, it was just like this weird sort of parallel,
it's Sam
mirror universe kind of thing, for me. And I'm not even saying that in a critical vein. I'm just saying that, it just caught me off guard a lot, but for us doing what we were doing, we really wanted a Gwen Stacy who was the smart person who got Peter, and we wanted MJ to be this girl who also got Peter, but in a different way, and wouldn't let herself get close. And in my mind, if you go down the road quite a bit, the idea is that what ultimately is a catalyst that brings Pete and MJ together, and it's this tremendous loss. It's this huge, huge, tremendous loss that matures both of them tremendously. Mm-hmm. And so that meant to us that we had to make a Gwen and an MJ who fundamentally, as different as they were best friends. And so, we only got 2 seasons. I would have loved to have explored that relationship further, but we tried to at least get that ball rolling. I don't think we finished it. I don't think we got there. I don't think any of that stuff happened. I wasn't in a hurry. Everyone kept saying, seems like every episode, is this the one where Gwen's going to die? And, we had no intention of killing Gwen, because our show was set in high school, and Gwen doesn't die until late in Peter's college career. And we had I want to reiterate this, we had no intention of killing Gwen off in our TV series. Because our TV series, even if we had done the 5 seasons I had hoped to do as opposed to the 2 that we got to do, the entire 5 seasons would have taken him from the beginning of his junior year to the end of his senior year. It would have been 2 years of real time, from September of junior year through June of senior year. And we weren't killing Gwen off. Gwen doesn't die in high school. And, it's easy for me to come out and say this, and I didn't want to come out and say this while we were still live, because, if Gwen gets in danger, you don't want the audience to go, well, Greg's already said he's never going to kill her off, the kind of thing. I don't want to remove all sense of danger from it, but it was kind of,
common sense, really.
As I looked here and there, kind of amazing to me how everyone kept going, oh, I thought she was going to die in this episode, kind of thing. And I'm like, really? You really thought that? Really?
Seriously?
Because, that was never our intent. We had very long-term plans, and they were pie-in-the-sky plans. I wasn't kidding myself that this was like a sure thing or anything like that. We weren't even sure if we would have a second season, and obviously we never did get a third. But, long-term, our hope for the series was, and I know I've said this in the press before, was that we'd do 65 episodes, 5 seasons of 13, all set in high school. And then my hope was is that we'd go and do some direct-to-DVDs where our audience had aged with us, and we could do the college years and deal with some of the more dramatic and serious and maybe a little PG-13 kind of stories that took place later in Peter's life. And that's really the way Spider-Man always was. You know, it wasn't like, and I don't say that as like, wow, look how revolutionary Greg Weisman was being. No, that's what Stan did. That's what Stan and Steve and Johnny did. You know, and the authors that followed them. You know, this wasn't me being a genius. This was me being, I hope, smart enough to see what was great about what these amazing creators did in the first place.
Okay. Wow. I've just left in awe in that whole statement, but